Hello, this is Jacob, aka Antandra, and today I want to show you some of my favorite features in Logic Pro X. So I've got this song that I wrote in Ableton Live, and I've imported it as stems into Logic just by clicking and dragging. And one of my favorite features, which is the strip silence feature, you can just right click and go to split and remove silence from audio region. Or you can just use the key command, which is Control X, and it brings up this window. Now when the threshold's up, it becomes less sensitive. I usually keep it all the way down. Now right here, you can set the minimum time to accept as silence. So if you turn that all the way down, it's basically, it's just going to create more slices, like so. So in this example, I just want it to define my audio region so I have a visual reference as to where the sound begins and ends. Normally doing this manually, it would take a long time just to go through and cut it all up. That's why I love this feature. You can also add some attack time or release time to ensure that you don't chop anything off that you don't want. And it has this option to detect the zero crossings. So with that checked, it's going to chop it in such a way as to prevent any clicks or pops. So I usually just leave that on. I'm going to turn the minimum time to accept silence up. So it's just two pieces here, and then I'm going to hit OK. Once you have the settings the way you like, you can just hit Control X, make sure it looks good, hit OK, Control X, make sure it's getting the parts that you want, and hit OK, and so on and so forth. And so I love this feature. It's a real time saver. And that brings me to the next feature. So the second feature I really like in Logic Pro X is the ability to move the start position, the start marker, back in time before the 1. This is really nice if you want like an odd number for your intro and then you want it to just resume on the 1 and go from there. Like I could have like a 3-bar little intro thing, and or just whatever. I just really like that, having that ability to move that start position back. On to one of my next favorite features, which is record comping. So you can have it build stacks of like folder stacks of your takes or take folders. If you go in here to recording, and under MIDI and audio, you just choose create take folder from this list. So whenever it loops around, well, you can set it how you like. Right now I have it for whenever cycles off or on to just create a take folder if they overlap. And so yeah, basically what that enables you to do, I'm not sure what this setting does actually, but what that enables you to do is especially cool with audio. And let me show you an example. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit record. Testing. I'm going to record one take, and then you'll see it's going to loop around, and then I can show you what the next thing is. So basically what it is the ability to swipe and combine different audio pieces, and I'm going to show you how that works in just 1 second. Alright, so now you can see it's created a take folder. We've got 4 different takes. If I zoom in here, what's really cool is, well, let's get a little more height so we can see the waveforms. So I could just click on any one of these, and that would become the one we'd hear up here in the main track. But you can see my cursor changes into this vertical kind of double line tool. What that allows you to do is just click and drag, and you can actually combine the best parts of each take So this is great for if you're working with studio musicians and you just want to lay the track a bunch of times over and over, and then you can just kind of piece together your favorite bits like so, and so the end result is going to be weird because it was just me talking and it's going to be out of order. But just to give you an example, testing, and I'm going to show you how that works. One take, and then you'll see, boom. So on to the next. One thing I really enjoy about Logic is the ability to export as an MP3. So if you just want to see what it would sound like as an MP3, or just email a demo, a small file, it's really easy now. You can just go to Bounce, Project or Session, and instead of choosing like a WAV or AIF file, you can choose MP3 here, or you can do both. And so yeah, that's really convenient. Instead of having to, export a WAV file and then convert it into MP3, you can just bounce it initially that way, which is very nice. Another one of my favorite effects in Logic is the EVOC vocoder. So if I just go right down into, actually I think it has to be loaded as an instrument. So I'm going to create a new MIDI track, and I'm going to select it from this instrument menu, EVOC 20 PS Vocoder Synth, and hit create. And so now we can actually take a side chain. So I'm going to go ahead and take the weird voice sample that I made. Let's see, that's audio 4. So I'm going to go with audio 4. And now when I play this back and play some notes on the keyboard, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and mute the original and solo this. And so now, let's see what it sounds like. Oh wait, I got to bring up my MIDI typing, musical typing. So there's some presets here. I could choose kind of like a vintage vocoder style. So I can just play a chord and you'll see that it just works kind of like your standard vocoder. But one cool feature is this ability to shift the formats. You can also stretch them out. It's got a lot of cool settings that I'm not going to cover here. But definitely fun to play with. So now on to the next. Another one of my favorite instruments in Logic is the sculptor synth. So I'm going to select that. It's like a modeling synth, which has a lot of features that I can't cover in this video either, but can give you a basic demo. So it sounds something like this. So you can switch it to kind of a wood-based sound, nylon, steel, or glass, or a combination, blending them. And yeah, I could just show you a couple presets here. You can really do a lot. Just even if you don't know what everything in here does, you can go and tweak it about and get some interesting results. almost like a talking drum effect. So yeah, that's a really fun one. Another cool feature they've recently added with the pan is this balance feature, or actually stereo pan. So the way the panning worked before, it would just kind of turn up or down the volume in either side when you use the pan, and that's still like the default setting for pan. But now it has this stereo pan, which is more of a true panning. You can adjust the width here, and then you can also adjust the pan, and it will actually move audio content from one side to the other. So that's a nice welcomed addition to the pan functionality. So one of my favorite synths that you can now only get with Logic Pro X from Apple, unfortunately, it used to be a Camel Audio VST and anybody could use it, but now it just comes with Logic. So it's part of the main reason I bought Logic and decided to try it out again, because I've been big into Ableton for a long time. But this Alchemy Synth is just really fun for sound design, if nothing else. I mean, listen to some of the sounds it can produce. I just chose a preset and tweaked it a little bit. So you see that I'm moving this XY pad down here. This is your performance control, and one of the coolest parts about Alchemy. See, you can map all the controls up here to these performance knobs and XY pads, and this attack, decay, sustain, release section here, and then you can take 8 different snapshots and it actually morphs between them as you move this around. So it's quite a powerful synth. You have 4 oscillators up here, and it also does granular and additive synthesis and works as a sampler. You can load multiple samples onto each oscillator, and it's got a whole slew of advanced options and features, tons of filters. You can go to each oscillator and there's more settings, and you can do this morph between them, and you can do spectral or crossfading, and so it's just a really versatile synth. And so yeah, highly recommend it. Another awesome feature in Logic Pro X is this capture record button that you can enable. So I just recorded something without even recording it. I had been playing before and I didn't record it, and now I just hit that button and it actually brings it in. Here, I'll give another example. So I'm just going to play some notes with that same Alchemy preset. And I notice I wasn't recording. Now I'm going to hit this button, and there it is. And the way to enable this button is you can right click in here and just go to capture recording. And that's a really cool feature. You can also do this touch automation, which is pretty cool. So if I'm in Alchemy and I want to automate this thing moving around, I just turn on touch. Well, there's different modes. Touch will just create automation as you're moving something. Latch will leave the automation wherever you stop touching it, whereas touch will snap back to where it was. And then write will just overwrite any automation that it encounters. So just depends on what you want. But I'm going to stick with touch for now, and we're going to do this. Okay, so now we can switch it back to read. And if we hit, we got to close the keyboard. If we hit A, we can see the automation there. You can press the down arrow to expand it, and there it is, XY automation. which you can further edit. One of my favorite effects in Logic is the Space Designer Reverb. It's a convolution reverb. It's got a lot of great presets, and you can also load your own. You can load any audio file in here, and or this SDIR file. So those are just ones that comes with Space Designer, but if you want to load an audio file, you can get some pretty cool results that way. So if I went into my samples and well, let's see, let's get out of imported. Let's go into just some one shots or rhythmic, sure. So I'm going to take this crash sound from KJ Saka's sample pack and open that up, and then it creates some kind of reverb effect like this when heard over that Alchemy thing we just did. Which is kind of cool, and you can also reverse it. So if I hit that, it takes a second to process, but then I can hear it in reverse. Which is also pretty interesting, a lot of creative possibilities there. So I might even just save that as like a, reverse symbol KJ, and now it's there anytime. So that's fun. And then some of the cool presets would be like these analog circuits. You can get some really nice like emulation of sounds rather than it being like a reverb. You can do some like tape saturation or different analog effects. Yeah, you can really just play for hours with this thing. A lot of creative possibilities. Another super awesome feature in Logic is to bounce in place. So if I just click on this Alchemy thing I created and hit Control B, it'll bring up my bounce in place options. So I can make it a new track. I can leave the source muted or delete it. I can bypass the effect plugins or include an audio tail in the file. And so I'm just going to leave the settings like this. You'll see it renders out an audio file just like that. And let's listen to it. Now for one of my other favorite things in the new Logic is selection-based processing. So you can have slices of audio like so, and then I could go here to Functions, Selection-based processing, and I could use a third-party VST like Manipulator from Infected Mushroom, and let's just preview what that sounds like. Manipulator is a great plugin, by the way. I highly recommend it. I just recently purchased it. So now I apply this, and then I could go here and I could turn on another third-party plugin like Glitch 2, and let's see what that sounds like. I'll go ahead and apply that. Let's go here, and I could even do an A-B, and let's see what's on this B channel. You can load channel strip settings, so if you save a whole chain of effects, you can load that up easily. I'm going to go back over here and play with Glitch some more though. Let's see. Yeah, I like that, so we'll apply that. Let's try this next one. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and apply that. Now let's see what these all four sound like in a row. You go into the preferences and under the general tab and then editing. You can enable this fade tool click zone and marquee tool click zone. And that gives you the ability to, I can click up here and fade. And I can bend it like that. I didn't mean to move it over. And you can also do the slowdown effect with your fades. So you can just have it be like. So when you're in the middle, you can drag audio around like so and loop it. And when you're at the bottom, if you hold Option, you get this other type of tool, and you can actually just stretch audio out like that. It takes a second to process, and then you get this stretched version of your audio. It sounds like this. Yeah, so then there's also a really cool built-in ability to have project-wide tuning. So you can go into the project settings, go into your tuning, and you can change it to one of the presets. So instead of the traditional or the contemporary equal temperament, you can go and choose different spacing for the notes from ancient times or lots of different cultures. So basically it'll load up that preset. You can also copy it down to user. You can actually see the exact tuning that's being used there now. and you can enter your own if you want. So it's going to subtly offset each of the notes, so you can have different intervals than your standard 12. And you can change the root note here. You can also use this harmonic tuning, get some cool sound going with that. And so it's something to experiment with. One last thing I want to mention that they've just added 4 days ago, actually, to Logic 10.3.2 is the ability to more easily just transpose any audio clip. So I can just click on these bits, and under the inspector and under region, I can now transpose them. Also, if you didn't know, you can go in here and reverse stuff, which is nice. And so yeah, that basically concludes my list of things I wanted to cover today, some of my favorite features. Please let me know your favorite Logic features in the comments, and until next time, I'm Antandra. I hope you got something out of this.